I'll have to address some breaking news on our screens, and as I can read, the cabinet has in fact approved the bill, and this is the Fugitive Economic Offenders Bill. Gentlemen, some patience over here. Let's quickly try and address this breaking news bit as well, because this is really, really important, because this comes in at a time when you have, proclaimed offenders like Mehul Choksi, you have Nirav Modi, you have Lalit Modi, you also have Vijay Mallya, all of them falling in the bracket of, proclaimed offenders. And this is clearly a very, very important development that has now got the go-ahead from the government. We're given to understand that the government has also, in fact, in this bill specified certain categories which will be deemed criminal. And this is, of course, the Fugitive Economic Offenders Bill. And we're given to understand that willful defaulters under the bill, they will fall under the category of criminals. Cheating and forgery will also be deemed now as an economic offense. So clearly the government is now trying its level best to come out with a regime to stop and also try and in fact fast track the extradition of these economic offenders, many of them in the past few years. The Vijay Mallya Kingfisher case, we have the case of Lalit Modi, and now most recently we have the Punjab National Bank case. Sandeep, your take on this as a corporate lawyer, how important do you think this move is? A Fugitive Economic Offenders Bill which now categorizes certain areas like willful defaults, cheating and forgery, which will now be deemed as an economic offense. In fact, I also understand that this bill will also help the government to seize assets of any such offenders who have absconded from the country. Your preliminary comments on this, Sandeep, from a corporate lawyer perspective?
No, so I've seen an early copy of the bill. I think it does two things. One is it disables such person who has kind of run away from the country from either being a plaintiff or a defendant in any civil suit in India, and secondly, any assets which they can trace, they can be seized and given over to the creditors under the Insolvency Act. So I mean, these are the two powers that have been given, and they've basically been given to the Enforcement Directorate, I believe, basically officers of Enforcement Directorate, and they will of course have to prove it in court, and the rules of evidence says that the burden of proof is on the director or deputy director to prove that, but they've reduced the burden to say that it will be preponderance of probabilities, which is a lower standard of proof. So I think it's an important, significant move by the government, to introduce the bill, and I think it will at least send a strong signal to people who kind of get a tip off and run away from the country.
Right, Vishesh, I'll come back to you for your key takeaways from this breaking news as well. But for the time being, we'll have to address this news. And joining us live on the show is my colleague Ruchi Bhatia from New Delhi, who's been very eagerly tracking this story and the passage of this new bill, which now defines economic offenders as criminals. Ruchi, you've been on top of this story. You broke this a day before. What are some of the key takeaways as far as the government's action plan against economic offenders is concerned? Take it away.
So, Ashwin, this is going to be seen as a direct impact, a direct fallout of the Punjab National Bank case, where there was an exposure of close to 12,000 crore rupees that Nirav Modi had. And this is not just, Nirav Modi, several other people, Vijay Mallya, for example, Jatin Mehta of Winston Diamonds, and of course Nirav Modi. So the government has seen that this has in a way become a pattern that people commit to economic offences, economic crimes, and then they flee out of the country to evade the law of the land. So we understand that the economic offenders, the Fugitive Economic Offenders Bill has been given a go-ahead by the cabinet. This bill will ensure that, firstly, it will deem certain economic offences as criminal, which means forgery, cheating, fraudulent documents, willful default will be deemed as criminal. We are also given to understand that this will give a timeline. So if you have committed any of these crimes, and if you're not responding to summons, so there's going to be a timeline which this bill will say that if you are not in the country and if you're not responding to any sort of summons to so that the law of the land can take it forward from there, then then the trial will happen on the basis of absentia, and we also understand that the conviction can finally take place. We have seen how in the case of Vijay Mallya, extradition is not, the government is not able to go ahead and get the extradition done because, that trial has been moving very slowly, so to say. So this is a learning experience on that front from the government. So we understand that they will be able to go ahead with that, proceed with that. This is also something that Finance Minister Arun Jaitley had talked about in the union budget as well. So this bill, once it gets a go-ahead, this will be an important one to watch out for. It will also allow for seizing of the assets of these willful defaulters, of these economic offenders. So definitely an important one to watch out for. In just a few moments from now, we will also hear from the Finance Minister, Mr. Jaitley, on the key provisions and how does the government plan to bring the likes of Vijay Mallya and Nirav Modi back to the country.